What's happening, good people? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Omni Nation Comics. It's your boy Day Day in the house, and I got another cool episode for y'all on today. So today I want to be your homeboy, your home skillet biscuit, your cousin, your nephew, whatever I'm is to you, and have another chill, sit down one-on-one talk with you guys about why I fell in love with comics, right? What was it about it that I enjoyed so much? So if you're ready, sit tight, relax. Let's talk about this. Let's deal with this. Okay, so the first element that comes to my mind on what keeps that fire burning, what keeps me hyped for comics, why I love it, fell in love with it, and all that other good stuff is nostalgia. I mean, come on, bruh. Man, I love going back and reading some of those first comics that I first started reading and just have that moment of reflection of to my childhood. Couldn't wait to get to the comic store, couldn't wait to get home from school, couldn't wait to go to the book fair, just to pick up, a bunch of trade paperbacks and whatnot. And man, it's just the memories that still just, man, you just feel like being a kid again when you go back and read some of these stories you enjoyed reading. I mean, that's what keeps me on fire for this medium. It's just, man, yeah, just nostalgia. It's a total winner. And it's the same thing when I'm watching some of my favorite old movies, playing some of old video games and stuff like that. It's just that reflection back when you was a kid and you first picked up that medium, especially reading comic books. And man, I just love to reflect. Anytime I'm having a bad day, I love to reflect on those childhood moments, especially reading that it's always that one comic book that you like, man, I can read this over and over again because it just excites you again every single time. So yeah, nostalgia. So the second element that comes to my mind is escapism. Oh my God, like I'm reflecting right now. I think back to a time when I was a kid and battling with anxiety and depression and all that stuff, but it feels so good to be able to open a comic book and get lost not only in the story but the art, the elements, and blah 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 blah, and being able to just, man, escape from all that pain. Being able to get lost in the story and oh man, just it's almost like you open a book, it's like this magic just hit your face, like, bruh, I'm finna take you in on a journey. That's what it feel like to me, man, just to be able to escape. Butterfly in the sky, I can travel twice as high. Take a look, it's in a book. Reading Rainbow. I I can go anywhere. Hold on, while I'm playing, right? I'm just playing around. But did y'all hear the lyrics in that song? Anybody grew up in the '90s? Y'all remember Reading Rainbow, right? The lyrics in that song hits differently now, especially as you get older, because what he was saying was true. When you open a book, you really do get lost, and you can go anywhere. It's true. I mean, it's really an escape, right? That's a whole reason why I love this medium in the first place. Love art, period, as a whole. Because it's cool to be able to get lost, escape from the world, from all that's going on, and enjoy these stories, these worlds that they've built. Some of them can be fiction, some of them can be fantasy. I mean, all these elements, right? Drama, crime, it's very versatile. But it's cool to just get lost. So yeah, escapism. That's a big one for me. Third thing, bruh, the art. Ooh-wee! I couldn't wait to get to this one because this is the first thing that drew me to comics in the first place. Good artwork. Oh my God. And there are so many amazing artists out there. But man, the art. And there's so many different styles in comics. It's cool to see different elements of art. And oh man. But yeah, art is the illustration of comic books, right? That's the main meat of the comic books, to illustrate what that writer's script is doing, right? Is basically, illustrating what they're trying to say. And man, the art is just extraordinary in a lot of these. If y'all look at my wall back here, It's all covered in it because I love it so much. Art is, man, it's incredible. So yeah, that's a big thing that really just keeps my fire burning for comics, man. And ooh, and now that I have, when I first discovered Omnis and I found out them comics were oversized, bigger than your small standard size single issue, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy plenty of this because the art draws me in, man. The story might not be the greatest, but man, art is killer. And I'm a photographer also, right? So I love to open up some of my favorite comics and study the art. I love to study the way they do the line work. I love to study the way they do the lighting. Man, the colorists, inkers, all that. I study all those elements, and especially being a photographer now and trying to make my own digital art, it's cool to see that kind of work influence my own art because it's just, man, mind blowing how some of these artists do it. Man. Okay, another element that I know all y'all gonna love is the writing. Okay, there are so many amazing writers in the comic book world. I have my personal favorites, but man, if you have an author of a comic or a writer, I should, same thing, Lord. Man, when you have a incredible writer, right, of any book period, but especially comic books, since I'm focusing this on comic books, when you have an awesome writer that not only know how to keep you interested, know how to keep you at the edge of your seat, allow you to do great character development, story development, all the way from the rising action to the climax to the falling action, all the way to the conclusion. I mean, when you have writers like that, that really, man, that kind of stuff right there just, it makes me hype because, man, sometimes the writing be so good that you're so focused on the words more than the art sometimes. Am I the only one that go through that? Like, sometimes I'll get so lost in the writing that, man, I'm so focused on the words, and then I'll look at the illustration later. Because the writing be that good. They keep you so, ooh, and if I can name a few, like Ed Brubaker, Jeff Johns, oh my God, so many of them. Peter David, there's so many. They just know how to just, it's attention getting, right? I mean, that the writing is the cherry on top. Now I have a confession to make because there are different styles of writers, right? There are some that are straightforward, and there are some that are a little more complicated, right? And sometimes I don't really always like to read some comics that are like the writing goes over my head, right? There are some writers out there that really require some critical thinking. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are a variety of writers in the industry, comic book industry, right? A buttload of them. It's so many of them, different styles, different elements, and it's cool to see these companies like Marvel, DC, Image, or whatever, see them allow these different type of writers to come in and give to, what's the word I'm looking for? To make their voice on each of these characters that they come in or be hired to write, right? And it's so cool to see each of these writers not try to be like each other. Like, for example, let me see, Garth Ennis doesn't sound nothing like Ed Brubaker, right? You have Ed Brubaker, who's more of a crime, noir, cinematic kind of a style. Garth Ennis could be cinematic too, but he's a little more raunchy, little way more edgy. You know what I'm saying? So you get the differences. Like I like that, man. Writing is the cherry on top. Okay, the last thing that comes to my mind on why I'm so in love with comics and still have that fire burning is emotion. Now, this goes back to the writing element, right? Because it's really the writing that keeps that roller coaster going. Because there are some comics that I read, bruh, you are going up and down, up and down, up and down, in a circle, in between, multiply, divide, addition, and subtraction. Like, it's so many roller coasters of emotion that you can get from reading a comic book, right? And it's cool to see some comics make you happy, sad, mad. Like, what's gonna happen next? That's the best part too. I love the most too, right? You just want to know what happens next. Is that excitement kind of emotion, or you just sad, or sometimes like, oh, you did not see that coming. Okay, so the first thing that comes to my head that, oh man, that just, I got teary-eyed when I read it. I believe it was DC Rebirth #1, and I believe Geoff Johns wrote that. Geoff Johns, brother, if you watching this, man, thank you, man. Oh my God, this man can write, y'all. This man, he another one of the ones that can do this to you. But you're still in love with the character, even the villains. Geoff Johns, brother, legend. But anyway, so DC Rebirth #1. This was when Barry sees Wally again, right? And when he hugs Wally, he asks Wally, he said, bro, how could I forget you? When I read that, I was like, because I think this is when they meet again. Wally tells him about a new threat and stuff that's coming. But when that hug came in and Barry was like, how could I forget you? Man, did that hit me right here in the heart? Oh, it just, see, it's stuff like that that makes me love comics, man. You just feel that emotion. You just feel it. Not all writers will make you feel that. I'm gonna go ahead and be honest, but majority of the ones that I've read, man, you could just feel it, man. And the last thing that sums up this whole thing, why I love comics, is the experience. First of all, you're gonna have, and if you just getting into this, you're gonna have an experience where there are some comics that are gonna be boring, but there's gonna be some that are just gonna leave you at the edge of your seat. And that's the kind of stuff that I love, man. Just to have a good time, a whole experience. So all those elements I named, right? The writing, the art, the escapism, all that stuff. All of those elements make up the entire comic book reading experience, at least for me. Those are the elements that make it up for me. Because, man, every single comic is different, and they have their own different perspectives and experience, and it's good to see, oh man, these different writers, these different artists, inkers, all that stuff, bring all of these elements together in one book to give you a either cinematic experience, a sad experience, or a deep psychological experience. Oh my goodness. Reading, period, is an experience, but comics, you have the words and illustration. And to me, having both of those elements together in one medium, and like, okay, for example, let me give you an example of a book that really was an experience for me. This might not be your opinion. I'm just naming a few just to have a conversation. Like the Deathstroke New 52 omnibus. And I think Tony S. Daniels did majority of the artwork and the writing and the story. That was a straight up big screen movie experience. And it was fast paced. Like you couldn't stop reading. You just was so excited to see what was gonna happen next. Who we gonna scrap with next? I love comics like that, man. That just seems like a straight up Hollywood blockbuster, you know, kind of an experience. You don't need a deep thought or a deep brain or whatever to understand what's going on in the story. It's like pretty straightforward, right? And that Deathstroke New 52 omnibus is the reading experience for me. I like comics like that. Now there are some comics that I like to read that can get a little deep. You know, for example, Killer Be Killed by Ed Brubaker. That's an example of crime noir, but with a psychological thriller, super dark experience. See, I like that kind of stuff. But I have to do this on this video because I am in love with this writer right now. Another one that comes to mind is the entire run of Venom by Donny Cates. Donnie, I mean, the man did okay, Silver Surfer and Guardians and all that kind of stuff, but his Venom run was an experience. I'm not joking. And he writes on a big scale, right? He writes, and I love when writers write, setting up events and stuff like that. But the man keep you at the edge of your seat. I mean, I fell in love with not just Venom himself, but also Eddie. He makes me that seeing the two journey together, you know, going through Absolute Carnage and King in Black, him. Oh man, it was just a whole experience. I like comics like that, man. Just overall, you just feel something. I don't even know how to explain it. You just don't know what to do. You're just too excited that you don't even know what to do. And that run was so refreshing. It was a straight up, yeah, I like writing like that. So cinematic and panels and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that. I hope I didn't go too crazy. Maybe I did go too crazy, but oh well. I mean, talking about comics is my hype train. I can't help it. I mean, it's such an exciting medium for me. I'm just smiling thinking about it. I got chills. Like, this make me want to go back and read some of them comics that I grew up reading. I mean, the medium is incredible, and it's an incredible escape from real life, and I hope it encourages somebody on here that's watching. Go to your local comic store and pick you up a couple. I promise you, it's cool to just get lost. Reading is fun. It ain't got to be boring, and I think comic books is one of the great mediums, especially in the reading world, where you can enjoy the illustration and the writing together. Oh, it's just an exciting thing. So if you enjoyed this, hit that like and that subscribe button. Huh? Did I make you smile? If I made you smile or get you excited about something, hit that like or subscribe button, or leave a comment down there. I check all my comments and I check out and see what people think. But yeah, hit that like and that subscribe button. I'll see you guys around next time. Ooh, 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 ooh.